always had a fascination with the supernatural, the inexplicable, and the unknown. My friends called it an obsession, but I saw it as a quest for answers. So when I heard about Blackwood Manor, a decaying mansion nestled deep in the woods, rumored to be haunted by restless spirits, I couldn't resist the opportunity to explore it. The tales surrounding Blackwood Manor were the stuff of nightmares. Whispers of ghostly apparitions, eerie cries in the dead of night, and the chilling legend of the cursed family that had once inhabited the mansion sent shivers down the spines of anyone who dared to speak its name. One crisp autumn afternoon, as the leaves began to fall and the trees cast long shadows over the forest, I gathered a group of adventurous friends who shared my passion for the supernatural. There was Sarah, my level-headed and skeptical friend who had joined my exploits in the hopes of disproving the paranormal. Mark, the brave and reckless daredevil. And Emily, the sensitive and intuitive one who had a knack for sensing the unseen. The journey to Blackwood Manor was an adventure in itself. We navigated winding roads, trekked through dense woods, and crossed a rickety bridge that seemed on the verge of collapse. By the time we arrived at the mansion, the sun had dipped below the horizon, casting the world in a deep, velvety darkness. Blackwood Manor loomed before us like a sinister sentinel. Its once elegant facade was marred by time and neglect, its windows like empty eye sockets staring into the abyss. The moon cast an eerie glow on the mansion's crumbling walls, and the wind whispered secrets that sent a chill down our spines. "I can't believe we're doing this," Sarah muttered, her voice quivering despite her attempts to sound brave. "Come on, it's just an old house," Mark scoffed, striding forward with a bravado that seemed forced. I took a deep breath and pushed open the creaking front door. The air inside was stale, heavy with the scent of decay and abandonment. Dust motes danced in the pale moonlight that filtered through cracked windows. Emily, her eyes wide with apprehension, whispered, "Do you feel that? The energy in this place is..." I nodded, my heart pounding in my chest. "Let's stick together and explore cautiously." We ventured deeper into the mansion, our flashlights cutting through the darkness. The floorboards groaned beneath our feet, as if the very house were alive and protesting our intrusion. The first room we entered was a parlor, frozen in time. Dust-covered furniture lay shrouded in white sheets, and a grand piano sat in the corner, its keys untouched for years. As we moved deeper into the mansion, we discovered more rooms, each one a silent witness to a bygone era. The further we delved, the more oppressive the atmosphere became. Whispers seemed to echo from the walls, and the temperature dropped noticeably. Sarah clutched my arm, her skepticism waning as unease settled in. Mark, however, remained defiant. "This place is nothing," he declared. "Let's see if we can find the basement or an attic. That's where the real spooky stuff happens." We made our way to the basement, where the air grew even colder, and the darkness seemed to consume our flashlights. Emily's intuitive senses were in overdrive, and she could feel the presence of something malevolent. "This is a bad idea," she said softly. "There's something down here." Before we could react, the basement door slammed shut behind us, sealing us in darkness. Panic surged through us, and our flashlights flickered and died. The silence was broken only by the sound of our rapid breaths. Suddenly, the basement was bathed in an eerie, ghostly light. It emanated from an antique mirror that hung on the wall, its surface cracked and distorted. Our trembling reflections stared back at us, but they were not alone. Shadowy figures moved behind us, their faces twisted in agony. My heart pounded as I watched the figures draw nearer. Emily whimpered, and Sarah clung to me. Mark, the brave one, was the first to speak. "Who are you? What do you want?" The figures did not answer, but their mournful cries filled the air. We were trapped in a nightmarish tableau, surrounded by tormented souls who seemed to be trapped in the mirror. Desperation drove us to action, and we hurled ourselves at the mirror, shattering it into 1,000 pieces. The figures vanished with a wailing scream, and the basement fell into darkness once more. As we scrambled to our feet and stumbled back upstairs, we realized that we were no longer in the same Blackwood manor we had entered. The mansion had transformed, its walls dripping with blood, its corridors shifting like a never-ending maze. Emily's intuition guided us through the nightmarish labyrinth, leading us to a room that seemed untouched by the mansion's malevolent influence. Inside, we discovered a diary, its pages filled with the tragic story of the Blackwood family. Generations of Blackwoods had lived in the mansion, each one succumbing to madness and despair. The diary spoke of a curse that had plagued the family for centuries, a curse that had led them to commit unspeakable acts in the name of the malevolent entity that dwelled within the mansion. As we read, we could feel the presence of that entity closing in on us. It hungered for our souls, and we knew that our only chance of escape was to break the curse that bound it to Blackwood Manor. With trembling hands, we followed the instructions in the diary, performing a ritual that required us to confront our deepest fears and regrets. As we chanted the incantation, the mansion seemed to shake and shudder, and the malevolent presence let out a deafening scream. When the ritual was complete, we found ourselves back in the dilapidated parlor where we had first entered the mansion. But this time, the air was free of oppression, and the darkness had receded. As we stepped outside into the moonlit night, we knew that we had done something monumental. Blackwood Manor was no longer haunted by malevolent spirits, and the curse that had plagued the Blackwood family had been broken. The mansion stood silent and empty, its secrets buried with the past. We had ventured into the heart of darkness and emerged forever changed. Our belief in the supernatural confirmed, and our understanding of the unknown deepened. As we drove away from Blackwood Manor, the moon cast its pale light over the decaying mansion, and I couldn't help but wonder if the spirits we had encountered had finally found peace, or if they continued to wander the shadowy halls of that cursed place. One thing was certain: we had explored the haunted depths of Blackwood Manor, and the echoes of that night would haunt us for the rest of our lives.